This episode of Whiskey Riff Raff is brought to you by Templeton Whiskey. Originally distilled in the Prohibition era, Templeton Whiskey has always been rooted in the notion that every bottle is an opportunity to share their small-town strong spirit with the world. From their flagship variety of rye whiskey to the top-shelf specialties, there's something for everyone to enjoy, whether sipping it neat while relaxing on the porch or mixing it in your favorite cocktail for a party. Templeton Whiskey isn't just a liquor brand for when you need a strong drink, it's a way of life.
All right, Justin Moore, Templeton Rye, small town, strong spirit. Appreciate you joining us. Beautiful Breckenridge hoodie. I'm in Breckenridge, West Wisconsin right now for a lake trip.
Yep, fishing.
They're all
Justin. Meant to be, man. How about that? I mean, well, what are the odds?
You're in your podcast studio yourself right now, right?
I am. Yeah, it's funny, man. This is we built our house about 6 years ago, something like that. And until COVID, this is my office. And until COVID, this was completely empty. I mean, there was literally nothing in here. And so we have a pool house. It's kind of it's a bar, quite honestly. and
nobody
I can take you downstairs and show you, but yeah, in the upstairs of it, I have my office, and this was completely empty. I mean, there was nothing in here. And so obviously with COVID, we were doing a lot of these type things. And obviously I started our podcast and I finally told my wife, I'm like, I don't really care, but we might order like hang some stuff on the wall and make it look somewhat presentable. And so she got to work. So yeah, that's where we are, or where I am.
Anybody who's bought a house understands what a pain in the ass hanging a bunch of pictures like that are, all 1 inch in every direction.
I'm telling you, there are some things that I have determined in my almost 39 years on earth that are well worth paying for, that being one of them. Because
so annoying.
I don't like doing the math, man. Because it looks ridiculous if you don't, get it right. I mean, I can do it. It's nothing to it, but I don't want to deal with it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll give you $100. Come in here and do it. Fine.
In the same way, my buddy just moved to Tennessee, Wisconsin, and he was like kind of scared of heights or whatever. And he's like, but also just annoyed. He's like doing a bunch of shit with his house. And he's like, do you clean your own gutters? And he's like, mine's pretty damn high. And I was like, just pay some guy $50 to come over and do it.
I don't even know if I have
you
gutters.
Care about. Yeah. Like, there's certain things where it's like you're still a man. You can still be a man.
I can do it. Yeah. I'm just not going to.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, if I had to, I could, but why? That reminds me, because I still have Christmas lights on my house from last year.
Love it. At this point, you can't take them down.
That's a true story. I'm not even making that up. That's redneck stuff right there. But years ago, the previous house we had, we only had a couple of kids at the time, and my wife was going, we need to put some lights on the house for the girls. And I go, all right. I really don't want to do it. But, I used to roof houses when I was in high school. And so I've been up on these crazy pitches and pitched roofs, and I hated it. It was hard work, and I said, all right, I'll do it. So I literally get up on the roof. And she goes, I still don't, she waits until I get all the lights. I do all this stuff. I literally get on the roof, and my wife goes, I don't know why you didn't just let those guys do it that left the flyer on the front door last week. And I go, what are you talking about? She goes, yeah, they said they would do, at the time for $300 or whatever it was. I go, this is the first time you've told me about this. They can absolutely come do it. I'll give them $1,300. I don't care. So I got off the roof. I called them. I said they were done. Boom.
I got the stuff ready.
Yeah, exactly. So, so we still to this day let people come do it. I didn't mean to interrupt you. And so the guys that did it last year, they did a great job, but they would never, we couldn't get a hold of them to come get them all. So I said, it got about July. I told my wife, I said, screw it. We'll just leave them up and we'll turn them back on here after Thanksgiving. So we might never take them down ever again.
Do you live in a spot? I know you you live in your hometown in Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
Do you live in a spot where you got some property where there's not too many neighbors that really drive by anyway? So who does it really matter?
Yeah. I mean, the only neighbors I have are my mom and dad live about 1,000 yards away from me, across a pasture, and then my first cousin lives about the same distance, and that's it, man. Pretty much.
Yes, nobody cares.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
What you need though, we live by a house. I think they have them up all year, but then you can, if you pay a little more for the actual lights, I think you can get the color variation ones so right now they already October hit. They're all orange. They'll put them on like for Halloween, and then Thanksgiving, maybe nothing, but then Christmas. So it's like, all right, like whatever, but I'm like dreading that. I'm like, let's be subtle. Let's the little tree in the front yard.
Like, well, and to Wes's point, the other thing is nobody drives by to see these damn things anyway. Like, it's not like we're in a neighborhood. I mean, so I don't know nobody sees them but us. So what's the point?
It's like you could just put the kids in the car and then take them to a neighborhood, like a subdivision of houses that do it up big. And
we do.
Right.
So
do your kids, I know you have a few there. I don't know the ages. Do they all believe in Santa Claus still? They're not going to listen to this podcast, I assume.
They all do, with the exception, and we have not had the conversation, but so the ages, I'll go there for the ages are almost 13, almost 11, 8 and 5. And we think our almost 13-year-old, even last year, didn't, but she's not the type that would come tell us, you know what I mean? So, I'm sure that was at least last year was the last year, but we have not had the conversation, but I doubt she does. The other crew, including our 11-year-old, they're kind of, they're still really innocent, even her. So I think the rest of them do, but I think our oldest is she probably knows a lot more than we.
Yeah, it happens at school.
She knows, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Somebody at school says something, and then you're just like, fuck.
Yeah,
I think my dad told me when I was like 5 or 6. I was pretty young. And my mom was like, what the hell? Why are you telling him? And then I went and told everybody at school. And then it was like a big problem.
Oh, no. So then you got parents calling your parents.
What the hell's the matter?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I learned it in kindergarten, actually, because they said, what do you want from Santa? And it basically, like, you write down whatever you want. And then they give it to your parents. And then they, fulfill the wish. And then the Santa Claus wrote back, like, we can't afford that Nerf gun. It's just, and I was like, everything started like coming into focus a little bit. I was like, okay.
I don't. So I forget. You guys, y'all have kids or you don't?
Yeah, I have one. He's just over 2 years old. He's taking a nap right now. Okay. His name's Luca.
My daughter just turned 1.
Okay, so y'all are just getting started. I'm sure you dealt with it some last year, but the older they get, you'll start learning. Santa Claus, Christmas Eve, sometimes gets tired and falls asleep before he puts everything together. So it's always
a little
smart.
Too much bourbon.
Yeah, Santa Claus gets a little tipsy and tired on Christmas Eve, so it's always good to set an alarm really, really, really early. That's the one bit of parenting advice I'll give you.
Santa Claus said, leave him edibles and bourbon. What? The school is like, oh man. Real quick, tomorrow, right? You have a new duet coming out with Priscilla Block.
We do, man. I'm excited about it. We've done a number of duets on our albums, whether it be the one we did with Miranda, which you guys were really kind to us with that song, which I appreciate. Wanted that to be a single. There's so many hoops to jump through, and
politics,
and we jumped through some of them and didn't make it to the finish line on that. But Charlie Daniels, we had one with. I've done a couple with Hank Jr. I mean, we've had a number of them over the years, is my point. But never released one off of my album as a single. So I'm excited about that. And I don't know how much you guys are familiar with Priscilla, but we played a show together, a guitar pull, early in the year this year. I think it was, I don't know, February, March, April, something like that. And it was myself and I think Lee Bryce and a couple other guys kind of in our same stage of our career. And, that was really intimidating for me as a newer artist, when you go and you're like, damn, they're just going to play number one after number one after number one. And I don't even have a single out, or if I do, it's not a hit yet. And so it's a tough spot to be in, and it's, you got to work your butt off to captivate an audience. And she quite frankly stole the show. I mean, I would play a number one, Lee would play a number one, then whoever else. And then she would say something and sing something that people were like, oh my gosh, And so I really took a liking to her that night. And I told her at the time, I said, hey, anything, I don't know what I can do, but anything I can do for you, I'd be more than happy to help. And because I thought she was a really good songwriter. I thought the song ideas were really good. I thought they were well written. She sang on key live, which, as you guys know, is not always the case. I was really impressed. I thought her rapport with the audience was really good. And so with this particular song, I was not looking for any more songs. I mean, we had what I thought was all we needed for the album. And I heard the song and I thought, damn, that's a monster, man. I gotta record that. And she was the first name that came to mind, and I'm a little different generation than she is, or a generation before or whatever. And she has a really big online presence, and which I think has been a big part of her career and story to this point. And so I thought, hey, this could be a lot of fun and good timing and hopefully mutually beneficial. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Who wrote it?
Awesome.
It's terrible that I don't know that, but I know Jesse Alexander is on it. Because she was on the demo and she's really good. Yeah, I agree with you. She's super talented, and I'll have to apologize later to
we'll fill it in on when we post the podcast. But
to the other song
you mentioned her,
but yeah, I think it's a really well written song.
You mentioned the generational thing, and I don't know if 100% like where she blew up was TikTok. I think
TikTok is where she really
I think you're right.
Got the most traction initially out of the gate.
Are you a big TikTok guy? I don't think you are. We're not either. We hire interns and then we tell them we hire interns for socials and we just let them run wild and we go, TikTok's your playground.
Yeah.
See what works.
So to answer your question, I mean, I don't have, and I'm not even lying. I mean, we could go through my phone. It's right here. I don't have one social media account on my phone. Not one.
How does that feel?
Amazing. First of all, I didn't grow up with it. I think I'm a little older than you guys, if I'm not mistaken. But, when I started even my career, there was only MySpace. I mean, Facebook wasn't even really a thing. It might have been created, but it wasn't, what
MySpace was freshman year of college for me.
Yeah, 2007. Right. So
yeah.
6.
I think I'm 33. I always forget. I stopped paying attention to my actual age.
Yeah. So I didn't grow up with all that stuff, and I was an adult when all that stuff became popular, whether it be Twitter or whether it be TikTok or Instagram, and so I never loved it. I did it because of being forced to do it, obviously for my career when it became more of a thing in our industry, and so Twitter was the only thing I had on my phone for a while, and I would get drunk and talk smack to opposing fan bases during a basketball game or something. I'm like, this is just stupid. I need to get off of here. I'm gonna ruin my career. I keep talking shit.
You won't. You'll get actually more. Sorry.
I know, yeah.
But you won't. Like that's what I hate about like some of the like you're so successful, and there's other guys like yourself, maybe off camera we can talk about like don't be scared to like lean into it, because the fans get so excited when they see like the artist like
be a person
kind of like talking shit. Like it's fun. It's like at the end of the day, it's like who cares? Unless the label is like, oh my God, like, but
I got some nasty emails.
Fans.
I got some nasty emails going, what the hell are you doing, you dumbass? Like
we get them all the time about outdoors content. So.
But I tell you what, so during the pandemic, everybody was doing these live shows from their house. I forget which, might have been Instagram. It was one of the ones, not Twitter. And the son of a gun stayed on, because I didn't know what I was doing, but it stayed on after I finished my set or whatever. And I'm ripping my wife's ass for letting the dogs come in and knock my phone over. And I'm yelling at the kids, and I'm yelling at the dogs. And and so everybody's calling me going, hey, you're still live. You're still live. I don't even know what that means. Like, what are you talking about? I'm still live. They're like, everybody can hear you and see you right now. And I'm like, oh. So after that, I'm like, man, I'm just getting off of all this.
Yeah.
I don't need
I need a producer for this.
Yeah. So, I mean,
my God,
certainly we have
sweating on the inside.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, what did I say? But it ended up being funny. I mean, like you mentioned, it ended up being a kind of something we laugh about now, but, no, I just don't like it anyway, because I find myself, anytime I find myself doing this for like, a longer period of time than I need to be, I'm like,
15-20 minutes.
I'm just wasting my life away. I need to get rid of this, so I don't know. It's healthy for me.
I was the same way on the phone thing is harder because we have to do it. Wes and I have to have the phone, have to have the social media, have to have traffic numbers up, whatever. So I was like, I'll take like an app like Reddit and like try to follow stuff that like makes sense. Maybe this is an interesting article or whatever. And then you start seeing really fucked up crazy shit. And it's just, you see it every day, a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And then it starts hardwiring your brain to start thinking a certain way.
Or desensitizes you like,
it just kind of makes you. So I was like, what I did is like, I unfollowed basically everybody off my personal Instagram and just follow like accounts that are like philosophical or outdoors or nature or that. So that's it. That's all I see. I go on Reddit. It's like one or the other, but part of it, like we have to send to our bloggers like, hey, this crazy thing just happened. But
there's a fight at the Arkansas
super toxic game. I feel like.
Oh my gosh. So ridiculous. Yeah,
what'd you say? Just
bit some dude's nose off.
I said there's a fight at the Arkansas game. Yeah, that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we posted
ridiculous.
it.
I forget who he was. He was like,
wasn't he like a successful guy?
The CFO of some company.
Yeah.
Oh, Tyson Chicken or Beyond Meat. He was the CFO of Beyond Meat.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
And he bit some guy's nose off in a parking garage on campus after the game.
That's like an Onion article.
And they won.
This is after a win. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, like, can you imagine if we had, you could almost see it after a loss, but we won.
And Justin, we've told the story before on the podcast, even with other guests, but your handshake was the firmest handshake we've ever had back in the day at Lake Shake in Chicago, like 6-7 years ago. I feel like you could handle yourself well. I always feel like I can handle myself well. Wes does too. So when you start getting into these stories about people biting noses off, this and that, tell me if I'm wrong though. As your career progressed, as you had more children, it's easier to kind of let the bullshit, like, it's not worth it. But does that like instinct still sometimes, like, I don't know if you've had experiences where you're just like, holy shit, I want to like say something to this fan. We've had our most viral article by you was like 2016, I think, with
in
Chicago about the guy, but that wasn't necessarily towards you. It was a guy and a girl, but it's a weird change, right? Where you go from a single guy who's drinking, who's making more money to, oh, I got a wife, now I have kids, now I have a lot to lose.
I got to be a grown up.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go to a football game, and if I have an opposing fan next to me acting crazy, like, have you experienced any of that? Whether it's concert or just fatherhood or husbandhood or?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just make sure that you guys know that my dad is the one that said, if you want to show respect to another man, you have to have a firm handshake. So that was a sign of respect. I hope you guys know that.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, Adrian Peterson, they said in the NFL, was like the hardest handshake. Everybody said, the running back. And I was like, that's got to be like Justin Moore. Like, this, I never felt anything like this in my life.
So,
but it changed the way we shake hands. So thank you for that.
Hopefully you guys understand that I did that out of respect. But, nowadays, man, I feel like the older I get, the more mellow I am, kind of to your point. A lot of it, whether it be career wise or whether it be, personal life stuff, I just don't seem to give too much of a shit anymore. And I don't know if that's getting older or I'm pretty chill. But at the same time, like, because of, I guess, getting older, I don't put up with crap either. like I used to just let people run over me sometimes and be like, it is what it is. Now I'll not physically do anything, but I'll say, hey, you just cut in front of me, like, whatever. But no, I'm pretty chill now, unless it's something to do with my kids. I mean, you guys both have kids now and understand that. I mean, if my kids are getting, messed over by or bullied or whatever, then I'll.
Don't you want to fight the dad?
Yeah, that gets me kind of hot. But outside of that, I'm pretty laid back these days. But like, yeah, you feel like going, he said what, or she said what, or did what?
I'm gonna beat this kid's ass.
You want to go, grab the kid, but obviously you can't do that. So you thinking, do I need to have a conversation?
What's wrong with his dad?
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of changed gears a little bit, but speaking of kind of hot moments, on your podcast, you had a pretty awesome rant after the ACM Awards, and we kind of covered it. It was pretty amazing. But basically, to summarize, you're like, the ratings are falling because there's no country music on there anymore. And
I believe that.
I feel like I was just like, yes, like, somebody say it.
Yeah, well, that's another example of maybe something that 10 years ago I wouldn't have said, and nowadays I'm just like, whatever. I mean, and it's true. I'm telling the truth. I mean, I it is what it is. I mean, we were on the bus. It's about 2 weeks ago. My tour manager and I were on the bus, and it was after a show, and we had a long run to the next gig. And so I don't know about you guys, but our kind of go-to thing after the show, especially if we have, we don't have to get up early the next day. We'll stay up and drink and YouTube every Hank Jr., Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, whatever video we
pissed
can
our
do.
wives off.
Yeah. And it rolling down the road. And because I'm like, look, if it's just me and you on here, we can get drunk and stumble to our bed and we ain't gonna get in any trouble. And I ain't got social media, so I can't get in trouble that way. So this is, whatever. So anyway, we stumbled upon like the 1993, 4, 5. I don't remember if it was the CMAs or the ACMs. It was one of the two. And it was freaking fantastic. I mean, it was amazing. Vince Gill and Clint Black hosted it. I mean, we watched the entire 3 hours. And so the new artist award was called the Horizon Award at the time. I think it was the CMAs. Every artist played every minute of their song, all 5 artists. And I think the 5 artists were Tracy Lawrence, Sammy Kershaw, Trisha Yearwood. There were anyway, they were all just amazing artists, and they played every minute of their song. Now, these are artists with 1 or 2 hit songs on their resume, and they got 3.5 minutes each now. And then, anybody and everybody who had, just put out their first single, they're showing on camera, and that's when I grew up and learned to love country music. And the ACMs and the CMAs back then showcase country music. And I loved seeing Sammy Kershaw, who had 2 hits at the time. I mean, even as an 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, I loved it. And throughout my career, and it's just gotten progressively worse. And again, this is just my opinion, but I think it's backed up with facts. As more people have gotten, I guess, a say so in how these productions go on, and they're further away from country music, if that makes any sense. It's like, oh, we need to get so and so for ratings, or we need to get an actress, we need to get a model player. We need to get a football player. We need to get whatever.
Why is I love JJ Watt. Why is he presenting an award?
Right. So, for example, we've had a really good 15-year career, and I've been on 1 award show in my entire career. Well, correct me. 2. I won.
You sent me up for my rants.
I won the New Artist Award in 2014, I think.
5 years after you had how many number ones after?
Right. I think we had a platinum and a gold album at that time. And this is not me it's not like sour grapes. It's just the honest to God truth. And I think we've sold maybe 4 million albums, 5 million out, whatever. And then I was on the next year to present it, the same award
to the next person. Yeah.
Yeah. And after that, I've never been on any award show. And so I'm just using myself as an example, but you could say that about 100 other artists, but country music fans want to see country music artists. And I don't care if it's pop country, rap country, rock country, whatever it is. They just want to see country artists. That's why they tune into these shows.
Sorry.
And the fact that they don't put country acts on these shows is why the ratings are failing, in my opinion.
Well,
your opinion is right. Your opinion is 100% right.
And I think the point is if we get this, this rapper or this NFL player or this supermodel, their fans will tune into a show that they've never watched before. To watch
it ain't happening.
It's not going to happen. And then people who like country music are like, well, there's nothing here for me anymore.
Back in the day,
it's growing the format, and it's not.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
it's holding it back.
I remember an ACM Awards show where back in Brad Paisley's heyday, Mcconaughey presented an award, and then Brad Paisley came out and did something, and he fell into when his song "Water" was out, which is I just laugh at some of that stuff, but it's Matthew McConaughey's out there. Brad Paisley's falling with his guitar into a pool. It was just what are we doing? What is this? It's a little much. It's funny though. You mentioned this. So for 7-8 years, whatever, every year I renew the voting rights, accepted as the CMA member. And then this year they kept emailing me, hey, renew your rights for $100 or whatever it is. And I'm like, no, fuck this. I don't give a fuck. All I'm going to do is tweet about it come November, whatever it is, and just shit on you guys
and vote for the people who aren't going to win. So
it's like, Justin, you're in that pool, like with artists that we've always had on the podcast that we love, that we've hung out with, like Kip Moore is another guy. It's just like, yeah, you don't get the, yeah, that's it. Like, I'm like, we would tell him, like, just stop caring, dude. Like, it's not, you're not the thing that they want. Just who gives a fuck? It's over. Like, it's over in a sense of, it's all formulated. It's all like, I listened to the radio on accident because I had a rental car for a day doing something in my truck. So I was like, I'm just going to leave this radio station on. This was literally 2 days ago. Every song, I'm like, this cannot be real. Like, this is what they're judging it on. Like, and I'm like, everything. And I'm like, I mean, we're getting better. We got the Ash McBrides. We got guys like yourself. We got but
Party.
It's hard for people that are, you get into your 30s, you get a little older. All right, I want to listen to good country music. You can't find it on the radio. But that shit on the radio is what they're putting up for awards. And you go, oh, well, Zach Bryan could sell out an amphitheater right now. And the guy that has a number one couldn't sell out a Starbucks. It's like, what are we?
Yeah, it's the influx of social media technology, all that has certainly changed what we do and how we do it, and all that stuff. I do have to say, for whatever reason, man, country radio, I mean, 99 times out of 100 have been really good to me. I even when TV wasn't, and the CMAs haven't been, and the ACMs really haven't been. For some reason, radio has stuck with us, and we bent a little bit, and when the bro country thing was happening,
we talked about that in the last podcast.
But we didn't really go way off the rails. You know what I mean?
That's our rapping.
We
kind of held steadfast as best we could, and radio stuck with us. So, I mean, I understand the frustration because, for me personally, everything I want to listen to is stone cold traditional country, but that I understand that there are people out there who want to hear different stuff, but just from my perspective, at least, I'm thankful that when we didn't have those other things like the award shows, that radio stuck with us. And I don't know why, but I'm certainly appreciative, of that.
Who are some of the artists nowadays, like more modern artists, that you like really dig what they're doing?
Man, I'll tell you what, and you guys will love him. A guy who's opened a number of shows for us this year, and I've gotten to know him pretty well. And he is phenomenal. I mean, to me, I think he's great. Is a guy named Jake Worthington.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Yeah.
He was on. I think he was on The Voice maybe years and years and years ago.
He did a song with Ronnie
did it
Dunn.
the right way after.
Say that again.
He did. Oh, sorry, Wes.
I was just saying he did it the right way
after.
Sorry. Yeah, he did.
Well, man, he's country as cornbread, and he reminds me a lot of Mark Chestnut, who I think is one of the most underrated artists of all time.
Totally.
But he's really, really good, man. He good guitar player, really good writer. He's a real deal. He's my favorite right now, personally. Obviously, I talked about the fact that I think Priscilla is really talented. If she can continue to write the quality of songs that she has into this point, I think she's got a bright future. Plus, she's kind of a firecracker. She's got a really cool personality and
a little bit of that Miranda Lambert spirit among her.
A little bit. Yeah. She and she's funny, and so man, who else? I'm trying to think. As far as new artists, I'm pretty bad. I go listen to the same Waylon Jennings albums over and over and over. So I only see them typically if they're out with us, and Jake's been out with us a lot. So love his stuff. So I would encourage people to go check his stuff out for sure.
Yeah, he did. I think he did a song with Ronnie Dunn recently for Ronnie's new album.
Oh yeah.
I think I could be wrong. No, I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Check that out.
But yeah, Ronnie just put out an album a few months
Dylan Carmichael's another guy that I like a lot.
Oh yeah, we've had him on the pod before.
He's a talented guy.
Yeah, he's great. Them some of them Kentucky boys are keeping.
They just got it, man. I don't know. It's something in the water up there.
Appalachia too, like Charles Wesley Godwin. Go find him. That's one of our favorites these days. Like some of these guys that are making moves that aren't even in the stratosphere of, oh, what's trending, what's this, what's that. But like when you watch the social media, when you watch the Spotify numbers, you're like, holy shit, like these artists that have major labels, and then this independent artist is just like, oh, Zach Bryan is obviously this weird example of a guy that's genreless. Is that what Grady Smith said, Wes? I think the other day, like
something like that.
It's like, it's country music, right? Like, you know, so there's a lot of people that make country music that's so country that hipsters take it and say, no, we like this. This is this is also one of our things. And then alternative, whatever, or acoustic, or it becomes this, it's not really country. It's played on nowhere. What do you do? So I think music is going to get real weird where, who knows, like 5 years from now, maybe, like, I don't even think radio is amazing, obviously for you guys, but we're going to really see like, man, who are these fans latching onto, and how do they actually get the listens? Because it's shocking when you look at the streams. Like you would think so and so has streams, and you look and you go, oh, they don't have streams. This independent artist outstreams them. Do you guys pay attention to that at all, like Spotify or
TikTok?
Yeah, we do. I know the label does a lot more than artists, or at least me. But
just make it.
but certainly you have to be cognizant of those things. And even when we now put singles out, even to radio, I'm saying, like, you think and this wasn't the case for the first 6, 7, 8 years of my career. You used to only go, hey, you think this is a hit record? Now you go, you think this will stream? I don't, you know what I mean? It's a weird thing for somebody such as, it's easier for younger artists now because they grew up with this in this world, and I didn't. So I'm still kind of a little bit of a dinosaur, and they're going, hey, but that sounds like a hit, but I don't know if it'll. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we got to think about, so it's like we have a song. As far as singles to radio go, the next single was either going to be the one that is coming out, which is called You, Me, and Whiskey with Priscilla, or we had another song that I think should stream really well for us, and it's called Get Rich or Drunk Trying, which we've been playing live, and I love the song.
We already know that's fits us.
It's a lot of fun, and I would think it would be one that streams really well. But that was part to your question. That was part of the conversation about the next single, which never was, 5, 6 years ago.
Do you have some singles where you were like, man, that one just did not do what I thought it was going to do? Where you like really like believed in it? You're like, this is great. And then it just didn't quite measure up.
Yeah, there were a couple, man. I thought, and you guys are more than willing or more than welcome to tell me if you disagree with me. It won't hurt my feelings, but
I like your pop country stuff. Honest to God.
What's that?
Your pop country stuff. I actually was like, I know you on the last podcast we talked about it. I was like, hey, you admitted you were like, I was doing something different. Not me, but I tried it. Okay. You went back to what you want to do, the Somebody Else Will songs. I was like, that shit's catchy. That came out on the truck driving in.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say that's not. I didn't skip
that reminded me of some like R&B or soul or something like that, you know. But no, the songs that there are two that come to mind that I thought were really good records that should have been bigger hits. And I've told even my friends at radio, I'm like, man, you missed that. You just flat missed that one. Well, one of which was Home Sweet Home. I thought we really cut a great record on that. My band actually played on that. It was my live band playing on that. And I thought it was really, really good. And I thought I don't normally say this, but I thought my vocal was really good. And that's a song that's familiar. You know, we end with it every night and people lose their minds. Now, it's not because of us, it's because of Motley Crue. But, you know, I thought radio should have played that. I think it went somewhere in the 20s, but I thought radio should have made that a big record. And I thought it would have helped radio, quite honestly, too. Because we could have involved the guys from Motley Crue because they were all in. I mean, they were in the video. We could have made a big deal out of that.
Yeah, get them in there.
Yeah. So I thought that one, and then I had a song out. You guys may or may not remember, and I don't remember what album it was. Maybe third, fourth, second, third. I don't know. It was called This Kind of Town. And it was a really good country record. I didn't even write the song, but it was really, really well written. And what I heard was it sounds too much like Small Town USA. And I'm thinking, well, that was a #1 record. Like, why wouldn't we want to have more of those? But I thought that was a really good song. And I think it died in the 30s somewhere. But that's a couple that kind of come to mind.
That was on Off the Beaten Path.
Okay, third album. Then, yeah.
We actually, if you're unaware of how long we've been going to your concerts, sophomore year of college, Wes, what year would that have been?
2008 or 9, maybe 2009.
So we saw you
10?
and Brad Paisley and Miranda Lambert in Grand Rapids, Michigan, around right when Small Town USA came out, and we were sophomores in college.
Wow.
So we know all of it.
Yeah.
So we've been a fan
awesome.
from the jump.
Well, I also just met Steve, and he told me, he goes, hey, I got a little drunk and bought tickets to Brad Paisley, Justin Moore, Miranda Lambert in Michigan. Do you want to go up there?
Wow.
And I was like,
awesome. To this day, I didn't barely knew we've ever
barely knew.
To this day, I think that's the drunkest we've ever gotten at a concert.
Oh yeah, it was
me
fun.
too. No, I'm trying to remember what tour that was. I did 2 or 3 with Brad. It wasn't the H2O tour. It was the one before
that. Was
you were
that was 13 years ago at least.
Miranda was the opener, and then came you, and then
no, it was opposite. I was the opener. Yeah.
I think he's right. Yeah,
I was the open. I'm trying to think what that was called. I forget what that tour was called.
But I just want to make sure you knew that we were there at the beginning too, man. We were loving
I sure
it.
Appreciate it. And I hope you guys know that.
Beta Hook was a big like fan song. Wasn't quite like it was like top 15 or something like that.
Still one of my favorite of yours. But.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that, and I still give my record label executive a hard time about this, but so that song is arguably the biggest song we play every night as far as crowd reaction and you know, that kind of stuff.
Testosterone's flowing.
And so so the week we lost the bullet, so for your listeners out there, that means the week the song dies at radio, we tested #1. It was the #1 testing song in the country the week we lost the bullet on that. And like you said, it was at like 15 or something like that. And so I always give him a hard time. Like, tested number one, because crowd reacts to it every night. But it's funny, man. Out of our 11 number ones, if we probably had, including that song, I would say 20 hit records or something like that. If you polled my fans, I guarantee you none of them would get all 11 right, because they would think it was this one or this one, or, and which is kind of lends itself to the conversation we were having earlier about streaming. And, fans don't care where it went to. That's kind of an inside baseball industry thing where we say we got X amount of number ones, and it's nice to be able to say, but I don't know how much it matters really.
It is true that becomes such a talking point among us and you and artists industry. And I don't think I could go downstairs and ask my mom right now, hey, how many number ones does so-and-so have? And she would be like,
no, nobody knows. And nobody
wouldn't
really
even
cares.
know what that means.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Is it true though?
Now, I think it mattered more before
streaming. Maybe. Yeah. Is it true that song's about Ben Roethlisberger?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Did I tell y'all that, or somebody else tell you that?
We started to. We posted an article.
We wrote an article about it, but you said it. I think Red Akins was on your podcast, and he kind of.
And I'm a Steelers fan, so
he didn't drop the name, but he said that there was a quarterback in the NFL who is your team, and like we kind of put all the pieces together, won some Super Bowls, And
it's funny. We were sitting there, and I think Rhett was on the road with me on the bus, and he was telling me this story, and I don't even know who the girl was. I have no idea. And I'm like, what? Especially because it's my team, and I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, I know. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, he threw the idea out there, and I'm like, oh yeah, we got to write that. So
how do you feel about Mr. Trubisky right now? I'm a Bears fan. This is actually, I'm in an Airbnb.
Yeah, well, I was gonna ask you.
Kenny Pickett.
Like, I don't think it's all on him. How poorly that the Steelers have played on offense.
You gotta fire Canada.
Their defense is legit, but our offense is just awful. I think he's partly to blame. But I don't know that Pickett gives us a better chance to win. I don't know. I
can't. That offensive coordinator, man, that's hard to watch though. The plays.
The Bears are kind of in the same position.
Oh,
really good defense, offense just non-existent.
Yeah. Well, the Bears can run the ball surprisingly well. They haven't played very great run defenses, but like, God, the passing game needs work.
Well, I'm the opposite in a sense of where I was like, no, similarly, where we hated our quarterback. I'm a Vikings fan. Long story. When I first started playing football as a kid, Randy Moss got drafted by the Vikings. I had no team. I go, well, I'm a Vikings fan, so I'm a Vikings fan.
Right.
And they get this guy, Kevin O'Connell, young, good-looking guy from the Rams that used to be a backup quarterback for Tom Brady. They say he was the mastermind behind all the Rams' success last year. And you watch them, and then they sputter. They had a bad Monday night. And then they play, and then he's like, we're going to get Justin Jefferson more involved. And they start doing reverses and screens and all this crazy shit. They put him at running back. And you're like, oh, my God, this is what you want from a coach. Put him in a position to fucking confuse the defense. Like, we had Mike Zimmer for 8 years, who's a crusty old bastard who didn't want to do anything. No change.
That's how you really
nothing.
feel.
Yeah. I had a note here to talk about sports. Which is like, I go, I know you're a sports fan, you're an Arkansas fan. I lost a one of my biggest bets of the year. It took Arkansas to cover against Alabama last week or the week before. God damn it.
I was there, bro. I was there.
Oh,
going into the fourth quarter, man, I thought I turn around, we're at the game, turn around and tell my wife, I'm like, we might actually pull this off. Like, because it was 28-23 going into the fourth quarter. We had them 3rd and 15.
And Nick Saban
then their backup quarterback goes 77 untouched. And I'm going, are you kidding me? So I'm sorry.
That's a Nick Saban effect, I feel like. they're just like, these guys are just like
robots.
They're so good, man. They're
like there's no
anybody's first 11 can compete with, or not anybody, but a lot of guys first 11 can compete with them, but the second ones
that's
can't.
what he talks about. That's a good point.
I mean they've got 4 and 5 stars on their 2 and 3 deep, where we got 3 and 4 stars on our first team, and second and third team you don't know. I mean,
yeah, you play so hard until how fast you run catches up with you. How much you can bench press as a lineman catches up with you.
And the other thing with when you're playing in Alabama or Georgia or
Ohio State,
really Alabama or Georgia, really, maybe Ohio State you throw in there. But I think Alabama and Georgia are on a different planet than anybody else, at least this year. If you're out of position or you're not gap sound for a split second, they're going to house it on you. It ain't going to be a 30-yard game, and you're going to run them down.
It's an 80-yard
they're
game.
They're going to house it. I mean, so I've never seen this actually. Maybe you guys have. I haven't. We gave up 3 70-yard running plays in the fourth quarter.
I never seen it in my life.
3 in one quarter.
Not in my life. Not in 33 or 34 years.
And in a position to win the game. I mean, you stop them on 3rd and 15 to begin the fourth quarter.
Right.
You get the ball with all the momentum and have a chance to go down and score to take the lead. And, their backup QB, who's an absolute beast, just houses one on.
Looks like Cam Newton or Dante Culpepper or someone of these guys.
Yeah, he's jacked and fast and so
I can't.
Yeah,
I was telling Wes before we got on, I was like, if you watch Nick Saban this week, his press conference they were asking him about I forgot his name, but is that quarterback going to play? And he just stares the reporter down. He's like, there's just silence for 20 seconds. It's so awkward. Because Saban just doesn't play games. It's just like, yeah.
No, I mean,
we're not going to tell you if he's going to fucking play, dude. Like,
he's the goat. He's the goat, but he's a rude SOB, but he's the
rude,
goat, man. I mean,
I feel bad for the journalists that are the kids that are kids
like interns at University of Alabama.
They get access to like interview him in the press conferences, and he just stares them down. I'm like, come on, man. Like, they're trying. They're trying.
No, he doesn't have any compassion for you as a journalist. I can promise you. He don't care.
How are we looking for the rest of the season with the Arkansas schedule? I'm trying to pull it up here.
Honestly, and this is not me being a homer. This is just the truth. I mean, we outplayed outplayed A&M.
I took them to cover. They did.
A&M's terrible. They're not a good team.
Big recruiting class.
A&M fans will tell you that they're just not good. I don't know that they'll win another SEC game. We outplayed them, outgained them, just had some stupid mistakes. Should have won that game is the point. I mean, we were the better team. If we play them 10 times this year, we probably win 7 or 8 of them. But gave that one away. The truth of the matter is we could win every game left on our schedule, or there's 3 or 4 we could lose. I mean, our quarterback went out against Alabama with what everybody presumes was a concussion. So he's questionable for this week at Mississippi State. Mississippi State's ranked and playing well, but I don't think they're that great, quite honestly. That doesn't mean I think we're going to go win there, but I don't think they're that good. We go to BYU, which is a tough road game.
Mormons are always tough.
Ranked too.
They're ranked as well. It wouldn't surprise me to answer your question if we go 6-6 or 10-2. And neither would surprise me. And I would guess somewhere in the middle. I would say 8-4, 9-3, something like that.
Have you seen some of these videos over the years? It's been going on for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. when Matthew McConaughey goes to Texas and he gives a pep rally, a little speech to the football team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm ready to fucking.
Yeah.
I'm ready to strap it up. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Do you think, do you have that? Do you want to do that? Do you ever want to kind of like get in front of a group of guys?
Did you be the Arkansas guy?
I talked to the team one time, and it was under a different coaching regime, and I just went to practice, and I was friends with the head. I was friends with the head coach, and he goes, "Hey, Justin, you want to come say something to the team? They're all there, like all 90 of them." And I'm going, not particularly. I don't really have anything planned. But it was, I think I'm better served in a different role than
I'll play the after game. I'll play the party when they win.
I'll write the songs. Yeah. They can come out to.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Brad Paisley did the Cleveland Browns like.
Oh my God, no.
But it was a couple years ago, and he was.
I missed that.
It was like,
oh, you don't want to
go look it up.
Good.
I love Brad, but he was just like, "Come on, guys, go out there and win and fight." It was just
as a Steelers,
McConaughey is like getting philosophical about like the universe. Like this is what it like. The guys are just like salivating. You're just like, holy fuck, I want to play.
We had Matthew McConaughey on our podcast. I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. And he could talk about a green M&M for 15 minutes, and you're captivated. You're going,
I need all the green M&Ms.
I mean, he's one of those guys, man. You kind of hang on every word, and I don't even know why the hell he did it.
I was gonna say, but how did that come about?
I don't have a clue.
He's a country fan.
Our social media guy and part of my management team somehow hooked it up, and it was awesome, man. I mean, you don't know. I mean, he's one of the most famous people in the world, and you're like, I don't know how this is gonna go. And he couldn't have been more down to earth, more chill, more cool. I mean, he was a great guy, and he and I now. Because he's a Texas fan, obviously, and Arkansas and Texas are rivals and have been for years and years. And from the old Southwest Conference, which you guys may or may not remember, but when I was a kid, we were in the Southwest Conference, not the Southeast Conference, and so he and I will text periodically and talk smack to each other about.
So jealous
or whatever. So, yeah,
we gotta leave it on this. We gotta leave it on this. I'm so fucking jealous.
We tried to have him on the podcast, and they said not right now, but soon. And that was 6 months ago.
Man,
so we'll see.
I hope you guys have the opportunity, man. He was really cool.
I'm gonna book awesome. 8 hours of the day away. I'm gonna just tell all the employees like we're done for the day. This is all we're doing.
Yeah, we ended up pulling probably 3 or 4 articles out of your conversation with Matt. So that was you guys. That was such a great podcast from you, honestly. Yeah. I don't think you get enough credit as a great podcaster, man. To be honest.
No, we love your podcast.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. We we don't take ourselves too seriously, kind of like you guys.
Clearly we don't either.
and it's really not it's not an interview. It's kind of like you guys. I mean, it's just a conversation,
Shoot the shit.
I'm not a professional interviewer, and I don't pretend to be. And like we had I think it came out today, maybe tomorrow. We just had Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who was obviously the press secretary under President Trump, and she's running for governor here in Arkansas, and it was fun. I mean, but we don't really talk policy, or we just BS like we're doing right now.
That's what people want, right? It's like what we get so upset about with the labels is they don't allow a lot of guests to even come on the podcast because they know what our podcast is about. We're not going to fucking just nickel and dime you about, oh, your song, you're this, you're No, let's talk about life. What do you like to drink? What do you like to do?
Well,
what do you like
here's
to?
the thing: fans don't care. They don't care.
They care about what we're talking about.
They want to know who you are as a person. I mean, in my opinion, and that's contributed
100%.
to us doing this 15 years after we started.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's a lot of people that don't like it, but there's a lot of people that do. Yep. You know, and so that's kind of the path I've taken, or why I've taken the path I've taken, because I believe that matters to people before they, you know, buy a concert ticket they really can't afford or whatever, a t-shirt or a sweatshirt and so.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
We love you, brother. This has been a great time. A lot of fun.
A quick hour that I didn't even realize was an hour.
Yeah. I looked at the time. I go, oh, quick hour. But Justin, man, we're going to post your new duet with Priscilla tomorrow.
Have you guys heard it, by the way?
I don't actually think so.
I don't know if they sent it to us, but we'll be hearing it tonight around what's your time, 11 or so.
About a few hours.
So
I might have an email somewhere.
I'm gonna prepare you. Like, so there's a little bit of a track in the first verse, and me and my producer fought over. I said, I don't want this. He goes, no, I think it helps move along, and I don't want this. I think. So you hear it in the first verse because he won, but you don't hear it the rest of the song. So don't beat me up too bad because I fought against it. I really did.
That's the Jason Aldean formula, though. Jason Aldean will always start with a track and he'll have like auto tune on and he'll be like rapping in the first verse. And then the next thing you know, real drums come in, normal chorus. And you're like, why the fuck can you just start like that?
Yeah. I'm like, man, I don't like this. I don't want this. I don't like this. But then you don't hear it the rest of the song. So
no, don't worry about that, dude.
I want to prepare you guys because y'all are of my own heart. Yeah, y'all.
Is that the word?
Y'all are like me.
Ilk.
Yes. So from the same ilk.
All right, brother.
Thank you so much, Justin, man. I appreciate this.
Hey, go enjoy some time off.